Alright, good night, ladies, gentlemen, NMB, another post-recorded video. Anyway, Cortina, let's get to the meat and juice because I have 44 seconds. So anyway, Cortina was the only man to have the Confederacy, the United States Army, and the Mexican government after his tail. No other coalition quite as strange, especially in 1961 when the Second Cortina War happened. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed and I hope you learned something. And of course, go to the show. And yeah, this is the only other war the Confederacy fought during their time from 1861 to 1865. Learn something. Enjoy. Alright, the First Cortina War. The Trouble. The First Cortina War began at Brownsville on the 13th of July 1859, when Cortina shot the town marshal, Robert Shears, in the arm for his brutalizing of Cortina's former employee, Tomas Cabeda. Tensions increased between Cortina and Brownsville authorities, and on the 28th of September, he raided and occupied the town with a posse of between 40 to 80 men. His enemies, however, had fled. During the occupation of Brownsville, Cortina issued a proclamation to reveal his intentions to both the communities by quoting from Proverbs 22:24. There is no need to fear, and there is no need of fear. Orderly people and honest citizens are unavoidable to us in these persons and interests. Our objective, as you have seen, has been to chastise the villainy of our enemies, who and which heretofore have gone unpunished. These have convened with each other and formed to speak a perfidious inquisitorial. Well, that's a big word. A perfidious inquisitorial lodged to persecute and rob us, without any cause and for no other crime on our part than that of being a Mexican and of Mexican origin, considering us, doubtless, destitute and those gifts which they themselves do not possess. Mexicans, peace be with you. God inhabits the state of Texas. Look on them as brothers, and keep them in mind that which the Holy Spirit saint, thou shalt not be the friend of the passionate men, nor join thyself to the mad men, lest thou learn his mode of work, and scandalous thy soul. Cortina retained control over Brownsville until the 30th of September, 1859, when he evacuated the town at the urging of the influential residents of the Matamoros. The following days, the townsfolk of Brownsville formed a 20-man group in order to fight Cortina, called the Brownsville Tigers. In November, I wonder if that's going to be a sports team. In November, the Brownsville Tigers learned that Cortina was at his mother's home, called Rancho de Canaman, 5 miles west of Brownsville. They immediately launched an attack, only to be sent into retreat in disarray by the Cortinas, as they were called. Yep, I stumbled on the last one, right? Later that same month, the Brownsville Tigers were joined by a group of Texas Rangers, and Cortina decided to attack them, now that they actually have a competent armed militia. The offensive was obviously unsuccessful. In December, a second group of Rangers, led by Texas John Rip Ford, or R.I.P. Ford, arrived, larger and better organized than ever. Because of appeals from Brownsville residents, the United States Army, yes, the United States Army, sent troops from San Antonio to nearby Fort Brown, where they had been abandoned a few years ago. And let's remember, this is when the Confederacy, well, it's 1859, so the Confederacy is not officially there yet, but pretty much set in stone, which had been abandoned. The fort's new commander, Major Samuel Hitzelman, or Hanselman, united and coordinated all armed groups to put an end to Cortina's threat. Cortina retreated back to the Rio Grande until the 27th of December, 1859. Heinz-Sulman and Ford actually engaged him in the Battle of the Rio Grande City. Cortina's forces were decisively defeated, losing 60 men and all of their equipment. And for the 1860s, wow, that's a lot. That's like $100. Persuaded and defeated again by Ford a few days later, Cortina retreated with his men into the Burgos Mountains. Cortina retreated with his men into the Burgos Mountains. The First Cortina War was mostly finished, with the increasing pressure from both the United States and the Mexican government to cease all hostile activities. Cortina remained away from the scene for more than a year. The final engagements of the war were the Battle of La Bulusa on the 4th of February 1860, just a year before the bigger, more enveloping war, and the Battle of La Mesa on the 17th of March. The Texas Rangers, under Ford, successfully defended their riverboat in the first engagement surrounding the Contanias, or the Cortinias, yeah, across the river La Mesa Tampulapas. The Second Cortina War. So in May 1861, this is when the Confederacy was actually a country now. The much shorter seven. So in May 1961, the much shorter Second Cortina War occurred. The American Civil War was just a few minutes away, a day, tonight away. And Cortina, who had aligned himself with the federal government of the United States, actually invaded Zappa County, Texas. Defeated by Confederate captain, get this now, the world is so weird, fact is actually stranger than fiction. He was defeated by Santos Benavides. He was actually a three-hole commander, yes, a Mexican commander, at the Battle of Carrizo. Losing 18 men, Cortina retreated back into Mexico, and Cortina no longer conducted any large-scale military incursions within the United States, although he was accused several times of prompting guerrilla action against the richer Texan landowners in the area throughout the following years, even after the Civil War. But that is a tale for another day, and Cortina disappears into the night. Anyway, I think that is basically it. Thank you for watching. If you want to just sit here and read this with me, that's fine, but the video is pretty much over. So, with that being said, let's go. This might be like a 12-minute video now. The First Cortina War began on the 13th of July, 1859 in Brownsville. This is just chronologically. Juan Cortina raided and seized control of Brownsville. 30th of September, Cortina evacuates Brownsville, urging Joe Maria Jesus Cabela, Colonel Miguel Tejina, and Colonel Macedono Capristran, Don Apigato Lagora, and Don Manuel Toravino from Matamoras. November 1859, the Brownsville Tigers learned that Cortina was in his mother's ranch in San Anita, Texas, now a ghost town. Later that same month, the Brownsville Tigers were joined by... This is pretty much just a recap, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh, here we go. In 1870, future Mexican President Porfirio Diaz received a large monetary contribution from this... So in 1870, future Mexican President Porfirio Diaz received a large monetary contribution from the citizens of Brownsville in order to remove Juan Cortina, under the pretext that he was rustling cattle across the border. In July 1875, Cortina was arrested in Mexico and taken to Mexico City, where he will remain until his death in 1894. Wow. So yeah, I was looking for that one. But without further ado, buenos dias, buenos noches, buenos oches, and Feliz Navidad. No, wait. Adios. Also learn something, man, and I'll see you next time. And hope this was actually pretty good. I think it was kind of good. I'm gonna listen back to it now, and it's only 10 minutes, so it's not too bad if it does sound kind of bad. But this is actually pretty interesting. This was the only war the Confederates actually proclaimed, even though it was a border skirmish. It was technically the first war the Confederates had ever fought. But let me just get the schematics. May 1861. They were bought off by the United States. So let me see the American Civil War. Hey, I didn't take American history class. Okay. Let me see. we're just gonna get the dates right, and so we could confirm our hypotheses. Did it open twice? Damn. All right, so American Civil War, the 12th of April, 1861 to the 9th of May, 1865. So yeah, May. Yeah, it was during the American Civil War actually. So technically it was more like a behind enemy lines guerrilla band proxy war kind of thing. But with that being said, it was the only other war these Confederates actually had, quote unquote. But later in the 19th century, we will come to know the Mexican board. No, 19th is 18th century. 19th century, no, is like 100 years behind. So like the 1500 is like the 1400s and 14th century, stuff like that. So 1865 would be literally the 17th century. Yeah, the 1800s was like, yeah, we're only in the 21st century, you know. This is weird. Hold on. Sorry. I need to brush up on my history, but hold on. 18th century. No, the 18th century was the 17th. So this is the 19th century, and then the 1900s are the 20th century, making this the 21st century. Oh yes, is more 100 in the future, sorry, not the past. So the 1500s would be like the 1600s. Like what? That'd be weird. Anyway, it is from 1701. Why 1701 though? Did we just like not skip? Did we just like skip a year? Like, you know, just bring the year and call it a day? Right, 1801 to 1900, dude. All right. Anyway, with that being said, history class is over, geography class is over, and time traveling class is over. Learn something, and I'll see you later. Bye. Learn something, sanitize, and until next time, please do not raid the United States, but it is the Confederate States, so completely and morally justified because they are the traitors that live in the land of gators. Learn something, y'all. Yeehaw!